Freestyle Travel. Hey everybody, this is the Freestyle Travel Show. I'm your host, Kenny Flannery, and this episode I'm featuring Jess Futrell. I've known Jess since we established in this podcast, since 2006, actually. Both of us kind of forgot that we met before I started traveling. Her husband is Aaron, who's been a friend of mine since freaking long time now. Since school, and one of the first people I saw when I started traveling, and they're married, and I'm sitting in their house right now in Sacramento, California, more or less, suburb of there, and I'll be here for the next 2 weeks. They are on vacation. They just left today, and they got a couple dogs and a cat, so I'm going to try to set this place on fire. I am sitting next to the fireplace, actually. It's pretty convenient. No, they left me with a whole keg of beer, a bunch of random beers. I'm drinking this Track 7 Stout right now. They got me a crowler of, what is this one? Dark Ailment, Russian Imperial Stout, 10.4%. Thanks again, Jess. Just taking a sip of that. Yeah, so there's several crowlers there in the fridge and some other bottles and cans, and I went to Costco, did a big food run. So yeah, they hooked me up with a bunch of stuff here, and the place is in good hands. So they think. It should be fun. I'm getting a bunch of writing done. I'm in the final stages of editing my book. I think for sure, finally next episode I will be announcing that, and I definitely will be looking for people who want to get it and review it and all that good stuff. So not going to get too ahead of myself. Just going to finish the writing before I do all the other junk. But yeah, super close. That'll get done. So yeah, I'm here. I'm going to talk to Jess. And after talking with Jess, I believe it's about an hour that we talked together in the garage, drinking some beers. We talk about a bunch of beer in Sacramento. And then also talk about just over the years, getting to know each other. Obviously, I was friends with Erin first and then met her that way, as we established. I met her in New York before I started traveling, and then, yeah, eventually she was going to school in San Diego, and they got married and got a couple kids now, so, yeah, I've known her over the progression of my travels and all the different things that have happened, so, after the talk with her, I'll catch you up on my personal travels, because I've covered a lot of ground since the last episode where I was in Lille, France. Since then, I've obviously gotten all the way here to California and Sacramento, which involved more France, some Spain, some Boston, some New York, some Wyoming, some Idaho, a bunch of hitchhiking, dealing with the police in Connecticut, a night in the hospital because of those idiots. Didn't hurt myself, but yeah, can't drink beer in Connecticut out on the street, apparently. I'll get into that. I got some stories, but I'll save that for after the chat with Jess. As always, I always recommend Google Fi. This isn't like an official ad or anything, but Google Fi is the phone service that I use. It's really great for travel. That's why I mention it. That's why I use it exclusively. It works with all phones now, not just Pixel phones, and I have a code TDW3EE. If you use that code, you get $20 off your first bill, and so do I. It's a reason for me to promote it, but I really do like it. Yeah, it's like, I think it's $20 a month flat for all the calls and texts, and it works all over the world. That's why it's great. It doesn't matter. You just land, you don't have to switch SIM cards, and the phone works. You know what it is if you've listened to this podcast. Check it out. Google Fi is the phone service. TDW3EE. That's my code. And that's it. Let's introduce you to Jessica Futrell. Here we go. All right, now we're in.
Take two.
Sweet. Cheers.
Cheers.
And what are we drinking again?
We are drinking Baggage Wagon from Revision out of Reno.
Nice. And you have been there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've still
pretty cool spot. Nice and big, industrial. They've got like a Connect 4 that's like the size of this table.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only been to that. Is it Lead Dog? Bike Dog is here.
Bike Dog's here, yeah. So Lead Dog's that one that's over by the casinos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, welcome. For everyone listening, this is Jess, Aaron's wife. We've known each other since...
07.
Damn. Yeah.
Right
in San
after
Diego.
you started.
That's true.
Yep. I think I met you in Sacramento, though, because I had to come home for a little bit.
Yeah.
And you were here. Aaron had flown you out or put you on a fucking train or something.
Oh, we met that first time here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to come home because my sister had died.
Okay. Yeah, so that first time you got me a train ticket from Montana to Portland.
And then a
plane ticket a week later.
Yeah.
It was like the cheapest way to get here somehow. And then I know I for sure saw you in San Diego.
Yeah, probably like right after that.
Like a month later, because I like left my shorts on the beach and the tide destroyed. I had 2 phones for some reason, and a camera.
Was that the time you almost got me a DUI?
Maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I distinctly remember that night.
Yeah.
We went to a football game.
Is that the one we snuck into, or I snuck into rather?
No, I think that's Dave, and Dave was the next summer.
Okay. No, I snuck into one football game.
Oh, you snuck into the football game too?
I think so. I think it was that game.
Oh,
It was before my camera was busted then, because I was just filming Krista, and she was like striking poses, and we just walked right past everybody. And everyone just assumed we must be like doing something important.
You go through.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I didn't know you guys had gotten into that for free.
Yeah. Kind of worked out.
Sneaky.
Yep. Yeah, and then all my stuff got busted that time.
Yeah.
Shiesty. Did you think I was going to still be traveling at this point?
No.
No?
No.
Did Aaron even? I don't know.
No, we've talked about that so many times where we were like, how many years do you think before he gives it up? And for a while we'd be like, he's going to do this for like a year or 2 and then get tired of it. And then like, I think like years 3 and 4, and I was like, I don't think he's going to stop. And Aaron's like, yeah, I don't think so. I think he might end up dead on the side of the road, and that's when he'll stop.
Yeah, I'm trying to come close here.
Yeah, you have a little bit.
Yeah, bit by bit. Yeah, and then you guys got married in 08.
Yep.
Yep.
October.
Remember, because I had a bow tie from that wedding I traveled with for a little while.
Put it on when you're having a hard time getting a ride.
Yeah, maybe. Now I got the suit you guys got me.
Oh, yeah, he's got a really fancy, I don't know, it's a tuxedo top now. So, if he's hurting for a ride, he can just throw that sucker on and...
Dumb and Dumber tux.
Yeah.
Should be sweet. When did we first start getting into good beer? Because I remember the wedding, we probably had something like...
Bud and Miller Light.
But there's probably something in there we thought was good. Like there was like a little bit of pale ale maybe.
No.
Really?
We were hardcore Bud Light and Miller Light drinkers.
There must have been some Corona, like a secret stash of Corona.
Yeah, that would be, Bob. Whenever we go somewhere, he's always, now he still does it, but with good beer. But whenever we had a party or we'd had to go somewhere, he'd have his own little cooler with like a 12-pack of Corona in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't drink beer before moving to San Diego State, and I only drank beer because of Maeve and Andrew, and because I would go out with them and they would get pitchers, and it was way cheaper to do that than mixed drinks because we were all poor.
Yeah.
And so I got on the beer wagon then.
I remember I must have been getting into beer because I remember we went on your bachelorette combo party in that like limo bus. Whatever you call it.
Oh, in San Diego, yeah.
And Andrew specifically got me some Rune Nation.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a bottle in there, and what is everyone must have been like, what is that?
What's this crap?
Yeah,
ew. Where's the Bud Light, man?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. No, I want to say Aaron and I started getting into beer in, I don't know, like 2010.
Okay.
We were first into like Belgians. Really into Belgians. I liked Lambics. That was like the first beer that I liked.
Oh, like Lindemann's Framboise?
Yep, absolutely. Jenny Kaysen and I and Erica, and we would drink those. And then it was like Chimay.
Oh, yeah. Those, like, Belgian.
Yeah, the Chimay blue and the red and the white, and then Duvel. That was the first beer we brewed. We tried to do a Duvel clone.
When did you first brew? Was I involved somehow, or?
No, I don't think
No?
so. It was awful. It was terrible. It was like not drinkable.
Yeah. Well, now you guys have this sweet setup over here.
Yeah, we can brew. They're 25-gallon tanks, but we could probably, if it was like a light pale ale, maybe like 18 gallons. But I would say, like, to be safe, probably like 15 on like an IPA. And if we did a really big stout, maybe like 12, 14.
Still pretty good.
Yeah.
You've only used that system once, though, right?
Yeah, and it was a shit show.
Yeah.
I blame it on Brandon.
Okay. How did the beer turn out, though?
Not good.
What did you brew? I think I asked Aaron.
It was that Citra that we brewed a lot of. And we decided to try and scale it up, and we got a stuck sparge, and we couldn't figure out how to get it unstuck. We were reading online and everything, and it was just stuck. And I was like, well, we either are going to dig out some of this mash, or we're just going to throw it away. So we just grabbed that 5-gallon pot that we have laying around somewhere, and just started digging it out of that top pot, and then pouring it into the igloo that we have that's up there. The igloo mash tun, the 10-gallon one. So we did it through that so that we could filter out all the grains, and then I think we ended up with like 5-6 gallons that we were able to boil.
Is that what's in the fridge? One of those citrus?
I feel like maybe we should. I'm not drinking. Well, I'll take a taste.
We should pop one open after this.
I think
live on the air.
You should pound it. Like you should chug it.
It's probably pretty bad.
Because we haven't brewed in 3 or 4 years now.
Oh,
Aaron says it's only like 2. I think it's been 3 years. I think in November it'll be 3 years since we've brewed.
Wow.
Yeah. We keep talking about doing it with Rudy, and then my friend Matt really likes to brew, and then my friend Tiffany, her husband Travis, wants to get into brewing.
Yeah.
And so all these people want to brew, and then we just, I don't know, babies.
I was telling Aaron, because you guys were talking about getting that shed and all, that we should brew like a Hobo Series stout. Yes. Just every single time I come, we brew that stout, and then we have we could have a vertical tasting in like 5 years.
Yeah, especially because it seems like you're always here in the fall at some point.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, it's like twice a year.
Season kind of
I feel
stuff.
like one time in the fall, and then another time in either spring or summer.
Yeah.
Unless you're, hanging out in jails in foreign countries.
Yeah, and then I can't really make it.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, oops. It happens. No, it'd be cool, though, because I told you the story about Larry, how he popped open this IPA, I guess about the same as we're about to do here. It was like 4 years old that we brewed together.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I'm like,
That's right, I remember you saying that the other night.
And it was awful. But
it can't be good.
No. So that's why I was like, from this point on, when I brew with people, hefty, like 10, 11% stouts.
Yeah. No, that'd be super fun. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I mean, do we do just like a plain Russian Imperial Stout, or do you do like the creepy, weird pastry stouts, or?
I think we do a different one every time, but it has to be at least 9%. It has to be a stout.
So maybe like the same base beer every time?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the same grain?
And then we mix it up. We do like the orange chocolate version.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I like that.
The orange chocolate one, I wonder how long that would last. But
before it would just kind of fall out.
That could be one of the last ones.
Yeah.
We do.
I bet Aaron could talk to his boss about getting the recipe for Peter and the Wolf.
Oh, okay.
Because we brewed before Dave opened up Blue Note, and we were all still in that brewing club. We did it on the boat, which was like their, 40. I don't remember how it was a big system.
Yeah.
But we brewed it on that, and everybody, you got to take home like a 5-gallon batch of it or whatever. And so we aged some of it on like wood chips that I'd soaked in some bourbon, and it was amazing. So he's been making that stout for a long time. I think he's probably perfected the recipe.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever gotten to try it, but it's good. I always tell Aaron he needs to tell Dave to bottle it.
Wait, so we gave everyone 5 gallons of just a wort?
Yeah. Once it boiled down, and then you pitched your own yeast and everything. And
at the brewery, and then brought it home.
Well, this was before we owned the brewery, so this was just like with the club.
Okay.
This was years and years ago, but it's a really good base Russian Imperial Stout. So
he's coming home with like a hazy or something.
Maybe I don't know if he can bring it home on Thursdays. Sometimes it's because there's like one keg,
Yeah.
So, because it's for the ambassadors at the brewery, so it just depends on how much they have left over at the end of the day.
Okay.
But if not, you'll at least have some. He'll bring it home tomorrow night, if nothing else.
Yeah. But yeah, I like this. Just every time we brew some version of the stout.
Yeah.
And then every time I come, we can also drink whatever we've brewed so far. Like do a vertical tasting every single time.
Yeah, like have one that we plan on keeping for like, I don't know, 5-6 years. That's about right max. I think you want to do.
That is max for a stout. You could push it, but
we have stouts that are like 7-8 years old now.
Yeah.
Probably aren't very good. I keep saying we need to drink them, but and Rudy keeps saying, oh yeah, let's do it because we like, you know, do a stout fest or whatever because we've done those. But I don't know if you've ever been over for one of those. So everybody everybody just brings a big stout.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
How have I missed all of those?
I think we've done like 2 or 3 of them. Rudy would know better than I do, but we've done a few of them.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Try something different every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I want to brew some porters too, but it's a little bit different. It's hard to brew like a really good imperial porter.
Yeah, because then it just starts kind of like
Drifting.
blurring that line into being a stout and what's, you know, what makes a porter different than a stout when you're putting that much heavy malt in there. And
yeah.
I mean, other than the yeast, but I would imagine they both would use a similar yeast. So
You brew those peanut butter porters, though.
yeah, but those are definitely lighter in body than a stout. I don't know. When I think of a stout, I think of something that's like got that chewy factor to it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And if it doesn't, if it's thin, I'm like, what is this?
Burning Barrel's now one of my favorite breweries.
I know. I'm so mad that I had to leave early yesterday.
Yeah.
We had like toddler meltdown to like 500 level, and so I was like, I'm out. I gotta go. They're pissed.
Yep. I got 5 samples of like all of their stouts.
And they had some pastry ones and.
Yep. And they had an Imperial Brown in the mix. I got that too.
Oh, okay.
I think it was the Imperial Brown with like maple glaze.
Oh, okay.
Imperial
That'll be
Brown.
really interesting for you to think of that when you drink the Fieldwork one I left for you.
Oh, yeah.
It's autumn something. I don't know. It's like a 12% brown ale.
12%. I am curious, like, what the hell that is.
Yeah, it's got like maple and vanilla.
Like, how do they keep it light enough at 12% to still call it a brown? They could do it somehow. To me, that's like a holy grail to brew this perfect, just like 6.5% brown. Mm-hmm. Like, 'cause I've only had like 2 amazing ones in my life.
Yeah.
One was from Telluride, Face Down Brown. Mm-hmm. And that's the only one I remember. That one was good. It's just such a weird, like, in-between style that you have to get it perfect.
I guess whenever I think of a brown, I think of, what's that mass-marketed one? It's not as big a deal anymore, but there is one that's like...
Downtown Brown?
That, and then there's something else that's like Irish or something.
Oh, not Newcastle.
Yeah, that's
Newcastle?
it. Yeah, it's Newcastle.
Yeah, but that one's like
thinking of.
watery and like, I don't know.
I used to like Newcastle a lot. Like when it was being fancy, you know, instead of drinking a Corona or a Bud Light.
That's that early stage of like beer. You're like, I don't drink that shit. I just drink like Blue Moon, Guinness, and Newcastle. I only drink the high quality stuff. Stella if I'm feeling crazy.
Yeah, Blue Moon would have been my first like crafty style beer because we used to get Blue Moons, like pitchers of Blue Moon, and you would like put oranges or even like put orange juice in it.
Really? Mm-hmm. It's like a Manmosa.
Yep.
Kind of. I met some bartender in Idaho and brought up Manmosas, and she thought a Manmosa was champagne with 2 shots of vodka.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
That makes me think of the first time I met you. Actually, you know what? We met before 2007. We met in 2006 when Aaron and I went to... He took me to New York when I graduated from Sac State.
Oh, shit.
And
that was the first time we met?
That was the first time I met you. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
We stayed with you when you were living in that apartment in Astoria, and
That's
you were still,
right.
like, hating your life doing temp jobs.
Yeah, so that had to be 2006.
Yeah, it was June, I want to say, because it had just started warming up. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But I remember you turned 21. Oh, no, it had to have been May then.
Oh,
Because your birthday's in May.
May 21st, 2006. So
Yeah.
when I turned 21.
Because we went to Del Fresco's for dinner, and I remember feeling super uncomfortable because I was like, this place is really nice.
Dude, you go to the bathroom and they like want to wash your hands for you.
Yes, I remember
Give you a
that.
stick
It
of
was
gum on the
like
way
the
out.
bar bill before we even sat down was like $400 or $500 or something, and I was like, But I remember two things distinctly from that trip about hanging out with you was you were really into drinking martinis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but your
Bowls
idea of a
loudmouth
martini
soup.
was just like you had Grey Goose in the freezer and you would just pour that crap into a
If you
martini
pour it
glass.
into a martini glass,
It
it's
was a martini.
Hell yeah.
Straight up, man.
Yeah.
You just have a glass of vodka.
For what?
And then feeling like a complete idiot because Aaron and I came back one day from like exploring Manhattan and you guys were all watching basketball. And I was like, I looked at Aaron at one point and I was like, these dudes are lame. Why are they watching reruns of basketball games?
We were watching reruns of basketball
Well,
games?
that's what I thought because it was like midnight.
Oh.
And Aaron was just laughing at me, and I was like, "What's so funny?" He was like, "It's
gotcha.
live.
Yeah.
That's happening on on the West Coast.
We're just on a
silly.
different
Like,
coast.
no, they're not. What reruns? Really? Who watches reruns of some whatever basketball game? I felt so dumb."
Yeah,
But I
if
thought
you
you
grew
guys
up
were
here,
I thought you guys were so weird. I was like, they're watching freaking basketball at midnight. Why aren't they sleeping? Like, who cares? It's just a recorded basketball game. They could watch it during the day. Like,
Yeah.
what's up with these weird dudes? Like, it's not like it's a cool game. Like, it's, a Michael Jordan game. from the
ESPN
80s.
classic.
Yeah, it was just like a game that happened, earlier today is what I thought.
Yeah.
Aaron he still makes fun of me for that. So even years later, too, like, he's always making fun of me about how I feel like I know a little bit about sports, like more than like the average like girl who's not super into sports. But he bought me a shirt this last year that says touchdown and it's got a baseball player.
Nice. Was that your first time on the East Coast?
No, it was my second. My first time going to New York was 2004. My dad took me when I turned 20. We were there for like, I don't know, 5 days or something like that.
Did you do much or?
We went and saw like 2 or 3 Broadway shows.
Okay.
Madame Tussauds Wax Museum.
Right.
I think that was it. I think we might have gone to Ground Zero.
Yeah.
I know Aaron and I did. I think I might have gone both times because it was really different by the second. Because the first time I went, it was still just like, big hole in the ground.
Yeah, construction site.
Yeah. The second time they had done a little bit more work to it. So, yeah, second time.
How long were you there when you stayed with us? Like a week?
We were there a week.
Something like that. Have you been back since? Mm-mm. You've been back to North Carolina? Or to North
that's
Carolina?
the closest I've gotten. I mean,
once or twice or a few times?
No, just once. I guess, I've only been back east once since that. Well, yeah, to North Carolina. I mean, I've flown past New York a couple times, right? When I went to Sweden in 2008. And then when I went to England a couple summers ago. But
what was the trip to England all about?
So I got into a program where the Shakespeare's Globe works with UC Davis, which is a university out in Davis, obviously.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they take a group of teachers and they work with them here in the States to work on finding ways to make like Shakespeare exciting and like get kids to care about it.
Yeah.
And so you do some training here and then they take you over to England and you do I think it was like 15 days when we were in London and they put you up in an apartment and
that's a while.
Yeah, so they give you like a pass for the train and then you do all this training and coursework and how to teach Shakespeare to kids, and we got to go see it kind of in action at a middle school in like South London, and then you work on like putting together a scene. It was really cool. Like one of the culminating things that we did while we were there was we got put into 2 groups and we're working with directors that work there, and we got to perform on the Globe stage.
Sweet.
It was awesome. I mean, nobody was in there except for, the people from our program, and we'd had to do it at midnight because you had to wait until after the shows were over.
Okay, but still.
Yeah, I mean, just to be able to say, like, I performed on Shakespeare's Globe, and it's not actually the original Globe. Like, they took us to where the original one was, and it's like a couple blocks away.
Still, that'd be like getting a scrimmage in Madison Square Garden or something.
Yeah, for somebody who's, like a nerd in that way, like it was really awesome. It was a really cool experience. And I ended up spending almost a full month in England because Sam and Bob, so my voice teacher and his partner, were already planning on being there. And so when I told them I got into the program, they had invited me to go to England with them a few summers before because they go about every other year because if they could afford it, they probably would. They would retire there. Yeah. It's just an expensive country to live in.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But they were like, come stay with us. Like, come stay with us before. And if you want to, you can come stay with us for a little bit after. So I flew into Bristol and stayed with them in Bath. And then we went to Oxford.
Okay.
We went into Wales for a day. And then I met back up with them after for about four days, and we went to Birmingham.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was a really good time. And Aaron doesn't want to go to England ever because he thinks their beer is warm. Because he's read about real ale, which it is. It's served.
That's like what their version of craft beer. It's just a synonym, really.
But it's just off of one of the engines, like a cask ale is what it is, But, and so.
Not all their beer is off cask.
No, and I had that was probably the cheapest part of the trip because, I was really surprised. Our housing in London was taken care of.
Nice.
And so I had to basically pay for my flight to get over there and then my train tickets getting around the country and then food. But I was there for almost a month and I spent like $700.
$700 the whole month?
The whole month.
On food, trains.
And I drank a lot.
Yeah.
We walked a lot and stuff, and I bought souvenirs and things like that. But yeah, about $700 is what I ended up spending while I was there, which is not bad when you're having to eat out most of your meals and considering how much alcohol I drank. Because it was like pretty much every day where I was like, well, I'm never going to see this again, so I'm going to try these beers. It wasn't but I'd have at least a beer a day.
Do you have a favorite? Do you remember some? I know there's like Beavertown.
Beavertown was pretty good.
Out of London, I guess.
There's one, I can see the can back there underneath the fridge next to that crowler from The Answer. I think it was called like 4 Point.
Okay.
And this was kind of the beginning of like the juicy thing was just starting. And so they had a beer that was, I don't even think it was that beer, but that was excellent. Because if you have the Bermondsey Beer Mile in London is like this, it's basically a mile track and you can hit up like 5 to 6 breweries plus a really good bottle shop that was there too. So definitely anybody who ever goes there I'd recommend, because I think I was like, Bermondsey Beer Mile, Kenny, check it out the next time you're there.
I will.
And so 4 Point was one of the breweries. They were really good. That was kind of like the beginning of the Bermondsey Beer Mile. So they were really good. I also remember Cloudwater. I don't know if you've had anything from them. They're out of Manchester, though. I never got to go to the brewery, but I had their beer a bunch of different places, and I brought some home. Because I brought home probably like a 12-pack of beer. Plus, I just started kind of getting into Scotch a little bit. And so I brought home like a small bottle of like Glenmorangie that I was like, thought I was so fancy. And come to find out, I was like, I could have just bought it at a liquor store for like $20 at home. But I mean, I bought it there,
Yeah. Super fresh, super good.
Yeah.
Have you ever had Lagavulin 16?
Yeah.
That's the best Scotch, I think.
Yeah.
Pound for pound in the world.
I want to say, because at most places, most of the pubs that we went to in London, would usually they'd have all these different scotches and they'd be like £5, which just not bad. Because that's how I had that.
£5 for a glass.
Yeah. For a glass of it. Yeah. And then a beer, was like, I don't know, £3, £4.
Did you ever go to a Weatherspoons? Mm-mm. Weatherspoons is like their chain, huge restaurant / bar. And some of the beers are like £1.50.
Huh.
And,
I missed that.
Yeah, there's like really good deals for food and stuff too.
I really want to try and convince Aaron to go. I feel like I could get him to go to Ireland.
Yeah, and then do like a side trip. Like maybe you have to fly into London.
Yeah.
I got a megabus from Wales to Ireland, which makes no sense because there's water involved. But for $1.
$1?
So the megabus drives to the ferry, and then you just walk onto the ferry and go to Ireland. But if you were to walk there on your own, it's something like, I forget, like $20 or $30.
What?
But
But since you got on the megabus, they
drop you off, it's just part of the megabus ticket, which is $1 if you get it ahead of time.
That's awesome.
So you could fly into London.
I wish I'd thought of stuff like that because I took the train a lot.
Train's always the most expensive way to travel.
Yeah.
Mostly everywhere, definitely in this country.
It wasn't that bad. My problem was I didn't realize how much I would get lost in a country that everybody spoke the same freaking language as I did.
Lost?
Lost. I got lost like 4 different times. I ended up getting in a car with complete strangers once I got to
You were hitchhiking there?
Technically, yeah. I hitchhiked.
Nice.
I forgot about that. I hitchhiked in England because I got to Bristol and I couldn't figure out how to get to Bath. I needed to get to Bath because that's where my friends were. Yeah. And I couldn't figure out which freaking bus to get on. And then, I'd ask somebody like the info kiosk and they're like, oh, yeah, like go over there. And I'm like, I'm over here and I don't know where I'm going. And I'm just like ready to cry because I'd been traveling all night.
Yeah.
And this guy had watched me walk up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. I don't know, probably like 6-7 times, looking around completely lost. And he's like, where are you trying to go?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm trying to get to Bath. My friends are there. He's like, okay, stand in this line. I was like, oh, is this the line for the bus? He's like, no, this is the line for the car park. My wife and I are just going to take you. We have to go through Bath to get home. And I was like, are you sure? And yeah. And so I called my friend Bob, because he'd gotten a phone while they were over there, and I'd activated my phone for that day.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, these people are going to give me a ride. I was like, what?
Are you like, this is their license plate number?
He's like, okay, I'm going to call you like 2 or 3 times, because he's afraid of,
Yeah,
because you're thinking we're Americans and thinking of how effed up things are here sometimes. And I'm just like delirious and I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a ride from complete strangers. And so I'm like sitting in their car.
How have I never heard your hitchhiking story until just now?
And Bob's like texting me and he calls me once and I'm like, oh yeah, it's fine. And I get talking with the guy and, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from California. Oh, what part? Sacramento. My brother lives in Reno. Like the nicest couple, and they dropped me off and they were super nice. And then I got lost on the bus in Bath. I ended up riding a bus its entire route because I was afraid I would never get back to the center of town. Yeah. And I got lost trying to go to a CrossFit. Both times I got lost trying to go to CrossFit gyms.
You went to CrossFit while you were over there?
I did. Only twice. I planned on going to the one in London a couple times, but I'd gone once and then I couldn't go again for a couple days. And then we did the Bermondsey Beer Mile and I twisted my ankle really bad to where I could barely walk. So that kind of ended any thoughts of going back to the gym while I was there.
Yeah.
So I thought when we go back to North Carolina, I was like, oh, maybe I'll find something like not a CrossFit gym because Conway's so small, but maybe like a strength training gym.
You think you will?
No, I already looked. All I found were like mom and pop versions of like curves. And I'm like, no, I
There's
guess...
like a guy who's got a Bowflex on whatever main street.
I told one of my work colleagues, I was like, so I'm just going to bring my jump rope and my running machine and my burpee machine. And she looks at me and says, they make burpee machines? And I was like, yeah.
I don't even know what a burpee is.
You are the burpee machine. A burpee is where you like, essentially it's like a push up to the ground. Like you drop to the ground and then you jump back up and then you jump and clap your hands over your head.
Okay.
But so she was like, they make a machine for that? And I was like, no, I am the burpee machine.
I am the burpee machine.
And Aaron's like, I bet there'll be plenty of heavy crap you can lift out there. But yeah, literally nothing. There's gyms in Raleigh, like all over the place, but not in Conway.
I'm going to go for it. I'm going to get the homebrew. So I'll be taking the mic off for a second. You'll have to keep the people entertained.
This is going to be bad, people. I don't even think it was a very good brew the last time we did it.
I'm even going to rinse my glass.
I guarantee there's going to be a ton of trub. For all our non-beer aficionados, trub is just going to be like yeast and hops that didn't get filtered out, which happens a lot with homebrew. You'll see it too, especially with those hazy beers. When you get near the very end of it, it'll kind of be like super cloudy looking. That's just like leftover yeast that made it through the filtration. Oh, this is gross. I can't
gonna
believe
be
he's
awesome.
drinking this.
I put my mic back on here.
So we can have an authentic response of how wonderful the beer is.
All right, here we go. Just popped it open. So there's 2 bottles in there, and you're pretty sure they're both.
I'm pretty sure they're both
that?
Citras.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this looks like a
I'm gonna start with
like
that.
an ambery homebrew.
Carbonation looks
It's good.
pretty good for an old ass beer. There's the trub.
Oh yeah, so we can see some hot floaties. Hopefully it's not mold.
Nothing crazy. It's definitely not mold. I would hope not.
Gonna kill Kenny today.
Whoa! It smells.
Does it smell boozy?
Smells boozy. It smells
Okay.
some Citra rounded off a little bit. Not as bad as I thought. But definitely, would you like some?
Not really, but I'll do it. I mean, you opened it. So now Kenny's gonna chug it, right?
Yeah. I will finish it though.
Really?
It is, it's very... I want to see how you describe this, because I taste this a lot in beer. It makes me think of the color turquoise.
It smells very malty.
It tastes like turquoise.
Tastes like turquoise. Yeah, so let's see. It smells very malty. It makes me think of like that kind of like classic early West Coast pale ale IPA that was like a malt bomb, but with like a strong hop backbone.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever had Pearl hops, but it has that kind of character now too.
It's not terrible.
Right?
I'm really surprised. I don't really get a lot of hop from it. It smells very sweet.
It is a little sweet.
But I mean, if I was on a desert island and I had to drink that or Bud Light,
Oh, yeah.
definitely, like not even a contest. The
Yeah.
Bud Light all the way.
No, this is better than...
No. I'm just kidding. Never Bud Light.
I don't think there's ever a place for Bud Light.
No, not anymore. I mean,
No. What's your go-to shit beer? Or do you never drink shit beer?
no.
Mine's a PBR.
Really?
Yeah, if I'm already like somewhat hammered and I'm just like kind of going for it, just I know I'm gonna end up drinking 5 more beers that night.
So you might as well go for something that's like piss water.
Cheap, yeah. And
Yeah, yeah.
And PBR is like not offensive. Mm-hmm. Sip by sip. Where Budweiser, you taste it. Not only is it light, but it also has that like, I'm gross as fuck flavor to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
PBR is kind of just like, I'm just cold and carbonated. I'll keep your buzz going.
Yeah, I just don't drink as much as I used to. It's like kids have definitely changed that. I'm super picky.
That's
If I don't like it, I either offer it to Aaron or Bob, and if they don't want it, I dump it.
Yeah.
But I did have a Modelo, or at least a sip of one. I guess I would do like a Modelo Negro. Like if I was in a bind and like that's all there was. Oh, he's drinking more.
I don't have to go to waste. Maybe I should actually get through this and we'll get to the next beer and I'll save this when it warms up.
All right. I mean, as much as Kenny enjoys that, I'm gonna dump mine and go grab another good beer.
Clip out till the good beer. Yeah. I'll join you with it once I finish this deliciousness. It's definitely better than the one I had with my friend Larry, which was for sure 4 years old. But it tasted like nail polish remover. Like it had really gone south.
Oh, like super acetate.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know what happened with that one.
All right, we'll do a local.
Sweet.
Local to us, 20 miles. Moonraker. You've been there, right, Moonraker?
Yeah, yeah. We were talking about going there, but I guess we went to Burning Barrel instead, which is awesome.
Further.
Yeah. I'm glad we did. So what traveling have you done? Like just like kind of freeform traveling? Did you do any while you were like 18, 19, besides that 20-year-old trip with your dad to New York?
No.
No?
I think when I was 18, I went to like Disneyland once. I went to go see The Lion King at the Pantages, and then we went to Disneyland. No.
What about with you and Aaron before the kids?
No, we were poor. We had no money to travel. We were broke. I was in school and then like a new teacher, and I would say the most of the traveling that I did was like with my grandparents and my parents when I was a kid. So 'cause my grandma lived in Canada for like 30 years because my grandpa died a few years before I was born, but then she remarried when I was a little kid. Did like missionary work, and so she and my step grandpa were all over the place, and they liked traveling. So that's how I saw most of the country. I mean, most of the places I've seen, it's like, I've been to Canada a bunch of times.
Where in Canada?
They lived just outside, maybe like a half hour outside Ontario.
Oh, 1-0 in the finals right now.
Right?
Ontario.
I know.
Canada as a whole. They're probably going nuts right now, or oblivious.
And then we have family friends that live near Vancouver. So I've been on that. So I've been both sides, never in the middle. And then my grandma was a missionary doing my step grandpa was a doctor, and my grandma was a nurse practitioner. So they were in Jamaica for a bunch of years. So we went there to see them. Yeah. It's the first time I ever saw a naked person.
Really?
Yeah, I think I was like 11. Yeah, we were in Kingston, which is the capital, and we were driving one day, and this crazy guy was in the middle of the road, and he was butt naked.
Just kind of streaking, or not even streaking, just like...
he was just like standing in the middle of the road. Yeah, like just naked. And I was like...
What's that thing?
That's a naked guy! I'm like 11. I don't know any better. Yeah. And then I've been up and down the East Coast, actually, with my grandparents.
Oh, cool.
In an RV.
Really?
So, yeah, we would go there, and we because I have, like, my dad's cousins live in Maryland, so we went and saw them. Took me to D.C.
Maryland's cool.
Yeah.
You got a flying dog over there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you didn't go to too many breweries.
No, not when I was like 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. We're looking forward to going. So we're going to be in Richmond for a day. And then we'll go to the Answer and to Vail, which are both supposed to be really good. I've heard really good things about them. So.
Those are good spots.
Yeah.
Did you guys, you went to Vegas a couple times until trip got cut short.
Jeez, thanks, Kenny. And you made Aaron's car smell bad. I remember that distinctly because you got kicked out of the... I made
it smell authentic.
No, because you hadn't showered in like a week or something like that, and then you ended up sleeping in Aaron's car for the night, and it smelled for like months. Months.
I had nowhere else to sleep. I tried sleeping in the business center at MGM, but that didn't work out too well.
Note to self: don't hit on girls when you're shit-faced. When their drunk boyfriends are around, because you might get punched in the face and then kicked out of a casino.
I just said I didn't have enough money to cash into the poker game. It's probably only enough for a blowjob from his girlfriend. I wasn't hitting on her. I was just referencing how much money I had, comparing it.
I remember that distinctly, just because we had done. It was I think it was the first time I had ever done a power hour.
Oh yeah, you guys rocked up with a cooler.
Those are dumb. Power hours are dumb. Maybe it was was it a century? Did we do 100?
No, I don't think so. I think we did a pure 60-minute.
Power hours are dumb. So if you have not done one of these, I definitely recommend not doing it. But the premise is that you have a shot glass and beer. I think you would die if you did it with alcohol.
I did it with champagne the very first time I did it.
Jeez. So the premise is that every minute for an hour, you take a shot.
Of beer.
A beer. But still, I think
so almost everyone you tell it to is just like, I can do that.
Yeah, whatever. But no, then do it. Do it and then come back and talk to us. Yeah. See how it goes. Because I think you go through like 6 beers. Well, let's think about this. Okay, so they're 12 ounces in a shitty Bud Light.
So it'd be like drinking 5 and change.
In an hour.
In an hour.
And yes, it's 3% piss water, but...
But most people don't drink a beer every 15 minutes.
No.
Even piss water beer, PBR.
No.
So it starts, a lot of people tap out at that like 24-minute mark.
Mm-hmm. You get really full.
Yeah.
I remember being pretty buzzed. I don't think, and there was a different time that we were all in Vegas. I think Aaron and I were there for a concert. Maybe not. I don't know. A bunch of people from San Diego State were there because of the fires. Maybe that was when we went. I don't remember. There were a bunch of different times that we went, like 2 or 3 different times. I drank too much and I got sick and I threw up in like the shower bathtub that Maeve and Andrew and Amy Lee and somebody else were all staying in that room. And I clogged it.
In Vegas?
In Vegas.
I wasn't there for that.
Yeah, you were. There's a picture of you.
Oh, were we playing beer pong at one point?
Probably.
Did I show up with a sketchy guy from the Greyhound bus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, I threw up on the floor of like a casino because I was so drunk. It was bad.
Nice.
It was bad.
It's a classic.
CDA State, not my best like drinking moments. A little bit of overindulgence there.
Yeah, what was that place you guys always went to? JT's?
JT's.
Yeah. That's where we started that limo bus.
Yes.
From.
Yeah. Maeve and Andrew, I think, were the ones that coordinated that. They don't live very far away.
From here?
No, they live in Sonoma.
They live in Sonoma?
Sonoma, yeah. Maybe
I'm gonna have to do a drop-in.
Yeah, they just had a second kid too, like 8 weeks ago.
I thought I saw that.
Yeah, wow. They're in Sonoma because Andrew works for this really nice winery in Sonoma called Meadowcroft. What
is their deal with they're doing like a wine show or something?
Yeah, no, they did Wine Wednesdays for a long time. They just started it up again.
Let's give them a shout out. How can people find that?
I know. So for Wine Wednesday, I think you would have to find Andrew Smith. I don't know how you would search for it if you're not friends with them.
Yeah, I wondered if he just did it for Facebook friends or if they like YouTubed it or something. But it seemed like they would just like sit down and just like talk about a particular wine bottle that they got.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to do like a search for like Wine Wednesday and like Andrew Smith or Maeve Catherine Smith. I don't think they have an official page for it, but it's fun. Like they just started doing it again. I think they're going to try and do it a couple times a week, and so they open up a bottle of wine or like I don't know what they did this last week because I missed most of it, the one from last night. But the last one they did like a blind tasting, and they just talk about like, you know, the things that you notice about wines, and so it's fun.
Maybe I can do an episode with them if I can catch up with them. Maybe that'll be the next episode.
Hey, maybe Andrew, Sonoma, Kenny's coming.
Sweet. So I'll probably have mentioned this earlier in the show, in the intro, but the reason I'm here is to dog sit.
Cat sit too. Can't forget like the best cat in the world.
I can forget about that cat.
But just don't let the SPCA know because you might have people come like tearing down our door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they hate that cat again. You don't remember that?
YouTube
Do you remember
remembers,
that video?
Or YouTube doesn't remember because YouTube shut that down quick.
Kenny put our cat in the freezer and he videotaped
overnight
it
or something.
She was in there for like 5 seconds.
Yeah,
and then
max.
He like put her in and closed the door and opened it, and she has this look on her face like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she probably liked it.
Yeah, she's so cold-hearted.
It's only 5 seconds. She's probably like, cats love being in closed space. But YouTube's just like, you can't put a cat in the freezer. It's not like she was in there for days.
Yeah.
And if I did put her in there for days, she'd probably be like, this is so awesome.
Yeah, so Kenny's going to be here house sitting and hanging out with the dogs and the cats while we're in North Carolina.
This is the second time I've done this, I think. But the first time was like for 2 days or something. 3 days? I was just thinking about that.
Where did we go?
I don't know. I don't know if you went far. But I remember there was at some point where I was here for not long. Maybe less than a week.
Mm-hmm. I remember too, but I don't remember where we went.
Yeah. Maybe
Aaron
you just went to like
remembers.
Reno or something. Do you guys ever go to Reno just for like a night or two and just?
Yeah, every once in a while, because Aaron's done enough gambling now at
Peppermill.
Yeah, Peppermill. So he keeps getting like these cards for like free nights, and so we did that. I feel like the last time we went, we paid. No, the last time was free, I think. Aaron was super irritated because the last time we were supposed to go, there was a giant snowstorm and they closed the highway for 36 hours or something like that. It was brutal. Messy.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's why I just came down.
We've learned our lesson though, is just, trying to go up there in the winter without having an all like road vehicle is just not good. So I think we're going to try and go up at some point this summer. We'll see.
Yeah, like early football season.
Yeah.
Take the megabus. Round trip. Both of you.
It's weird. It was hard to find times where It was like only once a week or something like that.
I think I don't know. It should be more than that.
Okay, but it wasn't, because we looked it up and it was not, we were going to be stuck there for more days than we'd planned.
Yeah, I guess what he was saying is that they left at like 10 p.m. at night or something, so you'd show up there at midnight, which is kind of obnoxious. And if you tried to go Sunday morning, you'd get there after the game started.
Yeah.
So
we looked into the train too, but the train is just very expensive.
Yeah, that's the thing. Train travel is the most expensive in the United States.
That is.
I don't know. It's pretty nice compared to a bus because you can get up, you can walk around as much as you want. It's a little bit more spacious. It's definitely more scenic. There's no such thing as traffic. I guess that's why they charge
as much as they do, but still.
It still doesn't make sense because they can fit way more people on there.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the fuel cost is. I mean, it must be more than a bus.
Maybe.
To launch a train from A to B.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I think they would charge less because they've got like 100 more.
How many people are going on trains too? You know.
Yeah, you can fit like 100 times more people on a train than a bus.
Mm-hmm.
So many cars. I don't know. I never understood that. I always just assumed trains would be the cheapest way to go.
Yeah, I would think so too. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. I only ride trains like once in a random while. Like if Aaron buys me a ticket from Montana to Portland. Like, all right. That was a good train ride, actually.
Yeah?
The first part was through the night. And then as soon as we started approaching Portland, it was sort of daylight. And then there's like going by a bunch of lakes.
Oh, cool.
That's a cool thing about trains is that they like carve through the wilderness at times.
Places you probably never see otherwise.
Yeah, places that are difficult to hike through.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes it worth it.
I mean, now that you saw part of that documentary that Aaron showed you about hobos that ride the trains, you going to do that again? You've done it once or twice, haven't you?
Hopped on a freight train?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I thought you had.
No, I've met some people who've done it, and it's something I would like to do. It's purely like a scenic kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's much more efficient. From everyone I've talked to a lot of people who've done it and done both. And it's much more efficient to hitchhike for sure.
Oh, okay.
And obviously you meet more people hitchhiking.
Yeah.
But some of the people I met who hop trains, they're like, I don't want to meet people.
It was like those guys in that one little bit I saw, they were like, we got some alcohol, we got some drugs, and we're just going to sit underneath this, freight thing for a couple days and,
Yeah. They're just more interested in, at least the people I met, they're just like smoking meth and tattooing each other. It's like,
on a moving train. That's probably like the best tattoo they're ever going to get in their life.
Yeah, it could be. I would still want to try it, but
do meth and get a tattoo while on a moving train?
Yeah, and then maybe also hop a train.
Oh, maybe hop the train. Okay, but the meth and the tattoo,
Ooh. That's a priority. This beer is much better that we're drinking now.
Yes.
What is this? Moonraker Sling Jaw.
Yeah.
Shout out to Moonraker.
Heck yeah.
Acante Citric Mosaic? I don't even know that hop. That first one? Count?
Oh, yeah. I think it's like a Southern Hemisphere, like an Australian hop or something. I mean, Citric Mosaic or, standards. Yeah. Another one I've been seeing people use a lot is that Mokateku or...
That's New Zealand, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Galaxy was a big deal for I think it still kind of is, but it's the hype on like, if you put like Galaxy whatever, people would go nuts for it for a while.
Like Mosaic was insane.
Oh,
obviously, Citra was nuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's just, like everything has its season. Like I'm sure hazies are going to go away in the next few years. I feel like they peaked. Now the big thing is the pastry stouts. That's
a big thing?
It is, yeah. People
really?
Go cuckoo for it, yeah. I'm not a huge fan. I think they're really cloying. Like they're too sweet for me. Like I want like an ounce or two of it, like a bottle. I'm going to bring it to a bottle share. I'm not going to open it and like Aaron and I drink it or split it or something like that,
Yeah.
I think those are definitely like sharing beers. I don't understand how people can drink like a whole bottle of it.
You know what showed up and is staying around too long is those Brute IPAs.
Oh yeah, those are gross.
I thought that was going to go away quick.
Yeah,
and I guess people are holding on to it because nothing else is coming in.
Yeah,
if they're competing with pastry stouts.
We've been seeing here lately is that the Keviak, or we were telling you they had that at Claim Steak. We went to this brewery called Claim Steak. We took Kenny there yesterday.
The raw IPA?
The raw IPAs, those Northern European IPAs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an ale, but they're just doing an IPA style. I've been seeing more breweries do that lately. And it's an interesting way to do it. It's definitely like a really smooth. It's light in body. It's different.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't know if I like it, but that's the new thing lately is that breweries in the last like 3 or 4 months have been experimenting with.
Yeah. The problem with the hazy IPAs is they're delicious.
I know. I mean, I won't be sad if they don't go away, but I feel like the hype on them is starting to die down a little bit.
Yeah. But also, if you think about it, like, just the IPA in general was sort of like a hypey kind of trendy thing, and that never went away.
Yeah, I guess that's true, yeah. In like the late 90s, and it's just evolved from there. Like
everyone's like, this is just a high quality brew.
Yeah.
I want to drink this
we'll just
all
drink
the time. Yeah.
No, just how West Coast IPAs, if you think of like Torpedo and like even like Rubicon's IPA and like just being, and maybe even like Stone IPA a little bit too. But even then, like Stone is kind of like that evolution of that. Because if you look at like Torpedo, like at this point when I take Torpedo and I take like a newer brewery that's making a West Coast IPA,
yeah,
Torpedo is so malty to me.
It is. It's still good.
It's good, but it's super malty in terms of like now, like that West Coast IPA has evolved from like this almost like a malt bomb with like a hop kick in the face to just like dry and crisp, and piney, and just dank.
Have you had a lot of Stone stuff lately? Do they have a response to this hazy situation?
Do they?
They must, but I haven't.
I haven't heard of one. I know Firestone Walker has this. So they did that Luponic Distortion series that they mess with that, but then they've also been doing this thing lately called like Haze of Our Lives.
Okay.
I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
And then but Sierra Nevada has that hazy little thing too.
Yeah,
and it's not crazy
light.
good, but
Yeah.
I mean it's a solid drinker. Like I'm not going to complain. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if I could find that in Conway, North Carolina, I'd be thrilled. I don't plan on it, but
you guys are sending those beers to Conway?
We sent 47 pounds of beer to Conway.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was like 29 beers or something.
47 pounds. Were you just like purposely sticking under that 50-pound limit? Was that a thing? Or is that just what it turned out being?
Just ended up doing 2 boxes because I think I probably could have gotten it all in one box, but I was worried about the weight.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot for one
Probably
box.
like $100 to ship or something.
It was 92, I think.
Damn, I was close.
Yeah. But I mean, we're gonna have some really good. But even then, you consider that there's me, Bob, Aaron, and Bob's friend Wayne.
Oh, that'll be like one night.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna kind of partition it off to where have a couple of them a night. But so because we land in Raleigh Sunday
you can pick
in the
some
morning.
stuff up in Raleigh.
Yeah, we don't go to Conway till Monday. So we have Sunday to kind of go around Raleigh and find. I don't know, do you know anybody in Raleigh or people who've been through there who might know good breweries? Because the only one that we know is I've read a little bit, but I mean, there's like one brewery that I think we're going to go to.
I have been to Raleigh, and I definitely went to 6 or 7 breweries. Mm-hmm. I'd have to look at a map and look at the list, and a couple of them would be like, oh, yeah, that was good. We're
definitely going to go to this one called Gizmo Beer Works because you've met Gizmo, my parents' dog.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I think I went to Gizmo.
We went somewhere with my parents because you watched our dogs and my parents' dogs.
That's the time I was here. Someone pissed on the floor.
Chiquita would not leave our room.
Yeah.
She died.
Not while I was on watch.
No. Kenny did not kill the dog. I'm not trying to say, like, if you're thinking about having Kenny house sit, he did a very good job. She was just a butthead, and she just would not come out from under a bed. And that was before we have the bed we have now, which is really easy to get underneath. Okay. We had those sideboards, so if she was underneath in the middle, you weren't getting her out.
Yeah.
And you were like, I didn't know what to do. Like, sorry, she pissed under your bed a bunch of times, but she would not. I remember that. And she got that too. It was like she got older where she wanted to be carried out. But yeah, she just passed away. The parents found her dead after they'd been over here a few weeks ago. So that was my grandparents' dog.
Damn.
Yeah, my parents.
Lisa's a full life.
Yeah. So, cause my parents took her after my grandma passed away because my grandpa died like about a year before. So, yeah, I don't remember where we were.
That's right though, because I was watching all those dogs.
Yeah, it was a
forgot about
house full.
Yeah, for a couple days or a few days. I don't think it was a week. It was less than a week.
Jeez, where did we go?
I don't know. Maybe down San Diego or something. Kind of simple like that, or unless you went up to... Because it would have been all you guys.
Yeah, no, but
Why would I be watching these other dogs? I don't know. We'll have to cross-reference with Aaron.
I'm going to have to... my dad or my mom or Aaron will remember. My memory's crap.
Yeah.
That's the one thing like kids do. Like when you're a mom, they just take your brain and they turn like half of it to mush.
That's true. I do like how you guys have kids now, and it's still just like the same for me, dropping in. Like it doesn't like change the dynamic too much.
No, but you just have to, wrangle kids. Like tonight, Kenny's trying to sit there, eat dinner, and he's got a beer in his hands, and he's eating some corn dogs, and Isla and Eleanor are like, ooh, what's that? And they're both reaching up to him like, gimme, and they're like dive bombing on him and stuff, and they're like, come on, dude.
Climbing on me.
They're crazy.
But yeah, I feel like everything's the same as far as like me dropping in for a couple days here and there.
And we were talking about it's like about twice a year. I think at this point that you're here.
Yeah, and now I just have to like go in the trunk when we go to beer bars.
That's true. Hopefully,
and maybe you have to bail from like burning barrel.
When kids are freaking out. Yeah, we definitely we joked with Kenny. It's maybe not the funniest thing considering how shitty earlier this year was for him. But we got in the car and we got moving on. And Aaron looks at me. He's like, "All right, you ready?" I'm like, "Ready for what?" And he's like, "Oh, well, we're dropping Kenny off at the Egyptian consulate." I'm like, maybe we shouldn't joke about that. That was a pretty freaking traumatic experience for the guy.
Sometimes it happens. I'm sure the consulate is better beer than they do actually in country.
Are you sure? I mean, I think a lot of the country there's a lot of Coptic Christians and a lot of Muslims there. So I would imagine both of those are pretty hardlined in each of their religions. So I don't know how much alcohol you even saw while you were there. It's not a dry country though, is it?
No, it's definitely not a dry country. But I didn't have a single good beer while I was there.
I wouldn't.
And mind you, I was only free for a week. Of the 2 weeks I was there.
My dad asked when I was over there.
I asked for beer when I was in the jail.
Did you?
Because they offered me like cigarettes and some other stuff, and they're like, "What do you want?" Like at one point, I was like, "Can I get some beer?" And they're like, "No."
My dad asked if you had learned your lesson.
What's my lesson?
Like if you would ever go back to Egypt. And I was like, I don't think he'll go back anytime soon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
not going to say I won't go back ever.
But but as of right now, you're pretty much like, here's a big old middle finger to that country. Who cares if you've got like
I got no reason to
pyramids.
Go back. Because even before I went into the jail, it kind of sucked. I had one good day.
Yeah.
One good experience, like snorkeling in this blue hole area in Dahab. And other than that, it was just like constant. Just like hassle.
Yeah, being harassed and getting put in jail.
Hustlers everywhere.
Yeah.
And thrown in jail. That was kind of a bummer.
I think we've had this conversation before, but I don't think I think maybe you'll slow down. Obviously a little bit. Maybe you should get older, like find places. And I think we talked about this. Do you think that Chico would be a place where if you decided you wanted to just kind of travel a little bit of the year, it'd be where you settle, or where do you think you'd settle?
No. So the only idea I have is that I would get a place in Oregon.
Okay. Why Oregon?
Like Southern Oregon. I just like that I could be close to the ocean, close to the mountains, and I'd still want to be like a 30 to 40 minute drive from a legit city.
Okay.
But I'd want to have a bunch of land. I wouldn't just get like a house. I'd get like a bunch of land.
Yeah, with like a little house on it.
No, I'd want multiple structures, trailers, all kinds of stuff. So I'd actually, initially, at least, I'd only be there maybe like a couple weeks, couple months out of the year.
So it sounds like you're going to create like a Charles Manson type commune, Kool-Aid, and have people killing people.
Everyone's wife has to fuck me. That's part of the deal.
So Oregon. So Southern Oregon.
Yeah, so we're close to all this stuff, and I would brew beer and have a workshop so I could, like, make backpacks. I'd have big gardens and stuff, and...
Would this be, like, contingent on... Well, I guess you gotta be careful with, like, credit card stuff. Maybe. So this is not gonna happen in the next 7 years. We know that.
Oh, yeah, probably not. At this point.
But...
Unless I put it under someone else's name.
Sure, have your mom buy it or something. Or maybe that might screw up something. Or your sister, or your brother.
I don't know, my mom's thinking of getting an RV. It could be, like, a cool place for her to park it.
Yeah.
But... Yeah, I just think it'd be cool to have this place where I have all my, like, toys and play, like, breweries and sewing stuff and a little basketball court. But also just have it so, like, couch surfers could come.
Yeah.
I could put it on Hostel World. I could put it on Airbnb. I could have, like, 1 or 2 nice shacks or, like, structures. And then some people just live there full time. Yeah. And then, do you know Woofing and, like, Workaway? Mm-mm. There are these websites where people who are traveling at like a slower pace, they can go and work somewhere for a month or 3 months at a time.
Oh, okay.
Woofing is mostly farms. So you go and work on a farm, and the expectation is you work like 20 hours a week, but then you don't get paid, but your food and you sleep there for free. So I can like have people like that. At some point, it'd be cool to have that. And then I could just drop in, and there could be like one little shack or RV or trailer that I could sleep in, and I knew I could just always just crash there. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of in the back of my mind, but I don't think it's anything I'm going to do this year, next year, or the year after. But at some point. But Southern Oregon, yeah, it could be close to the mountains, ocean, and also be in that nice zone where you could grow anything. Mm-hmm. From weed to tomatoes to jalapenos.
Yeah.
Like, everything. Yeah. That's about the closest I'd come to settling down.
Aside from those like 13 kids you got floating around somewhere.
Yeah, but they can't track me down. So. I think it's fine.
Kids, schmids.
Yeah. Shit, you guys can move up to Oregon. It's my property. If you want to. You could buy it.
There you go. We could buy it. Put it in our names.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, fucking A. We did about an hour.
Heck yeah, man.
All right.
It's better than like the 10 minutes or 20 minutes you said you did. Like.
Yeah, exactly. I can record the rest. Sweet. Well, cheers. Let's call it good there.
Cheers. All right.
Sweet. All right. Thanks, Jess. That was a good night. Like I said, I still got some of this beer left over. It's freaking delicious. This Imperial Stout is just hitting the spot. Yeah, so let me catch you guys up on my travels, and then, you know, obviously what's to come next. So let's dive back to France. For those of you who are listening to that episode, I'd been in Africa for a while and then back up to Europe as a cheap workaround to get ultimately out here. That was the goal. It's the main reason I'm in the United States, is to be sitting here right now in this house for them, Aaron and Jess, while they're away. So Madrid to Boston was the flight that I got. It was $120, so pretty good deal. It doesn't get much better than that. Sometimes you can find like these $80, $90 flights, but $120 from Europe to the States is pretty damn good. So yeah, Madrid was arbitrary. I was only going there for that reason, to catch that flight. I left Lille and wound up in Paris that night. I hitched just one ride from one guy, found a couch surfer on the fly. That dude lived just like next to the Eiffel Tower, literally right there, a block away. You could see it from his place. So right there, smack in the middle of Paris. I'd walked around during the day, accidentally ran into that Notre Dame that kind of burned down or whatever. You couldn't really notice from the ground, but I mean, I didn't even go there intentionally, but all of a sudden the roads were blocked off right around there. Yeah, I still haven't... Paris is one of those cities. Sometimes I like it, and sometimes it's like, meh. Just, yeah, it depends on the position you're in, what you're doing. But yeah, I had a good time anyways. It's mostly just hanging out with this dude. Drinking some Belgian beers, actually. This is some good beer in France, as I discovered, if you listened to the last episode, but not immediately where I was. So Hitched on down from France to La Rochelle, a little coastal town down the way. Stayed there with a Russian girl, this couch surfing host. She was super busy, so we got to talk a little bit, but with her work and whatnot, didn't hang out too much. So I was just walking around, kind of a touristy little town. Nothing too thrilling, to be honest. Beautiful though, for sure, but nothing too exciting. And hitched out of there, aiming for Madrid. And I was thinking when I got to Madrid, I'd just kind of chill out on the couch surfing for a second. So ended up getting a hostel there. Hitched a ride from these surfers. It was questionable whether I'd make it there in one day from where I was, but these guys gave me a big old long ride, 4, 5, 6 hours or something, straight to Madrid. And yeah, I got there and I just got a hostel for the last 2 nights I was in the city. Just to, I don't know. Couch surfing is freaking awesome. But sometimes I'm just in the mood to kind of be on my own, do my own thing. With couch surfing, it's you're sort of obligated is the word I was going to use, but it sounds a little harsh. Obligated to hang out with the person you're hanging out with. I mean, because most of the time you want to hang out with that person, but it's nice to just be on your own sometimes and just show up and do whatever you want. And that's kind of what I wanted to do those last 2 days. Unfortunately, it was some kind of holiday there. I think they're calling it Labor Day or something, so all the good beer spots were closed. That's obviously like a default move of mine, is to check out the different little breweries or bottle shops. All those were closed. But alas, I did a lot of walking around anyways, checking out the city. It's a pretty fun city to walk around. A lot of good people watching and things to see regardless. And wine is stupid cheap. So I was getting bottles of wine for €1.50, like, I don't know, less than $2 basically for 750 ml, regular bottles of wine, liter bottles of wine too. Had a good night there. Had a good last night there for sure. Ended up making some friends in the hostel. Kind of just had a rowdy night. Woke up and had pretty much all day to get to my flight. So I walked the 3 hours to the airport just to save a little coin, and I had the time. Why not walk through a city? That's the whole point of going somewhere, is to check it out a little bit. So it's a 3 hour walk. I probably took like 4 hours to do it, just stopping here and there. Got to the airport and zipped on over to Boston. Once in Boston, my godmother picked me up, who I haven't seen in forever, since I was a teenager, I think, thereabouts. So that was really cool. We caught up I stayed with her for a couple nights and just kind of caught up and shared some stories. And we've kind of been in touch over the years, but it was the first time actually seeing each other face to face and having a legit conversation. Super nice, and hung there, relaxed the full day that I was there, and then she really generously got me a train ticket, a 3 hour ride to Stamford, Connecticut, where my little brother lives. And at this point, I also had a plane ticket booked from New York to Wyoming, where my mom lives, on Mother's Day. Thanks, Mom. Which would get me most of the way to California, too. So, anyways, I had something around a week or less to hang out in that Connecticut, New York area, which is where I grew up. So that was cool. To get you on that story I alluded to in the beginning, the police in the hospital. So, I get to my brother's place, and he wants to go up to Yukon with some of his friends, because there's probably like the last party weekend until graduation. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'll come. So we're day drinking all day, and we get up there. It's like a 3 hour drive, which was kind of ridiculous, because it was basically halfway back to Boston. So that could have been planned a little bit better. But yeah, we went to Yukon, drinking it up. There's some bars that were shutting down forever, so they're basically just emptying kegs. All this talk, I gotta take a sip of this beer. Hold on. This is good. This Track 7 stout. Really good. So, yeah, at some point in the night, I lost track of all those guys. It was the night of the Kentucky Derby. And I don't know, we were bar hopping and going to different apartments and stuff. And at some point, I was on my own and I was drinking like a tall boy of something, some can of beer. And the police stopped me out of nowhere. And they're like, I don't know what time it is now, or it was like midnight or something, one. And they're like, sir, have you been drinking? And I'm like, literally holding a beer can. I'm like, yeah. Can you see my can of beer? I don't know. I'm just like, forgot that I'm back in the U.S. where that's frowned upon to just simply drink a beer outside. So, I don't know. I started giving these guys a hard time and just messing with them. And they're kind of giving me a hard time and asking where I'm going. And my phone was a piece of garbage and the battery had died, which was part of the problem, which is why I was having a hard time getting back in touch, finding out where my brother and friends were. At one point before that, I'd been in an apartment building looking for them, and I got invited into a random party. So I'd been separated from them for well over an hour, just at random partying with random other people. So they kind of at one point gave me this out where if I could get my brother on the phone, they were going to let me go. But obviously, phone was dead. And then I just kept kind of just smart mouthing them, messing with them. And they're like, do you even know where you are? And I'm like, I don't know, that place where your basketball team couldn't find a way to win this year? I don't know. They weren't stoked about any of it. I don't know why they didn't just give me a ticket, to be honest, for, I don't know, open container or something. I guess I just forgot about that. But what they did do is call it ambulance. So an ambulance shows up, and I get strapped into a gurney, like tossed into the ambulance, and like sent there to the hospital to sober up, I guess. So I'm like, all right, bye, you guys. Thanks a lot. Put me. This is also ridiculous. And I'm just having fun with the girls in the ambulance, and finally I get to the hospital itself, and they're rolling me down the hallways, and somebody had a USB-C charger, thankfully, and they just like left me in the hallway and near a plug, and I plugged the phone in, and I'm just letting it charge and pass out. Wake up somewhere in the early morning, I forget what time, 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that range, and just got up and left. Someone chased me down, made me sign some paperwork. So I didn't get any like legal ticket or anything. It was just like like a free hotel stay, basically. So then I'm walking out, and at this point, obviously it's too early for my brother to be awake, and I'm not sure if they went back to Stanford or if they're still in Yukon. So I'm just like, all right, screw it. I guess I'll just start hitchhiking towards Stanford. Worst case scenario, they scoop me on the way up. So I walked for a while. It was kind of raining. Didn't have all my stuff. Obviously, I left it back in Stanford. But got a ride to Hartford, a big town in Connecticut. And still early, so I just popped into a fast food place. I'm like, all right, let me get some food in me and try to ride this out a little bit. And luckily got a call from my brother once he woke up. They were still in Yukon. Told him I was in Hartford. A few hours later, they scooped me up, and off we went. Back on to Stanford. So that was that whole thing. Yeah, done and done. Freaking police, man. I don't know. That's such a dumb law that you can't just drink a beer on the street. What's the difference between? I'd never understand that. It's just an excuse to mess with people, really. Almost nowhere in Europe do they care about that. And there's only a handful of cities in the United States. Talking about New Orleans, Vegas, Savannah. That should just be, it should just look the other way. Should not matter. Unless you're causing a scene. That's the only reason. And even then. Whatever. That's that little gripe. So, I hung out with my dad for a few days. And then got down to the city itself. Caught up with a bunch of good friends there. New York City, man. It's always a good time. Best city in the world. By far. Had a great time there. Hit all the spots, beer bars that I like, and burger spot that I like. All the good stuff. Saw a handful of friends while I was there. It's kind of a short visit, just a few days. And yeah, caught that flight via Denver to Wyoming, and then spent just over a week in Wyoming. My mom lives out there, as does my sister. And my sister and I actually have the same birthday, 8 years apart. So May 21st, and she's just 8 years younger. And this was the first time since I was 18 and she was 10 that we spent the day together. So that was pretty cool. I definitely like that. Drank a lot of Melvin beer. Melvin's one of the best breweries on the planet. Easily the best brewery in Wyoming. Yeah, good time. There's also a brewery called Roadhouse, which is coming up if you're ever in Jackson, in Wyoming. They're pretty good too, but Melvin is the king. Make a lot of good stuff. And they had a lot of good extra stuff on tap too. So from there, I left, and it was pretty much the goal was to get to Sacramento, but still had time. So decided to go through Idaho. A couple of my friends in Salt Lake weren't around, and I've got a friend out in Boise, and I'd never been to Sun Valley. Weather was kind of garbage, unfortunately. It's still a little bit cold up. Would have preferred to have done some hiking, a lot more hiking, camping, which I did end up doing. So I got to Sun Valley pretty easily, hitchhiked there, and just kind of partied there all night, just kind of seeing what was going to happen, and closed out this one bar playing shuffleboard. And right before 2 a.m. last call, I did end up meeting this dude who's like, you can stay at the place. The roommates will be cool with it. You can crash on the floor of the living room. And I was like, oh, sweet. And then I kind of got distracted and started talking to some other people and lost track of the dude by the time the bar closed. But it was fine because I was kind of planning on camping anyway, so walked on up out of there. It's kind of a cold and rainy night, but I was drunk enough that it didn't really matter at all. Let my stuff dry in the morning. Hitchhiked out the next day. Got a few good rides. There's a pretty cool couple. They picked me up in the mix. Took me to this place called Stanley. So we had some like good conversations, and even once we got to Stanley, like had a coffee there at a little diner and talked to them some more. They were pretty cool. And got one more ride from this. At this point, I was aiming for Boise, and the ride I got was going to Boise. It was this woman who'd just been in and out of jail a bunch of times with a friend of hers, and these 3 dogs in the back. As soon as I sat back there, there's like, watch out for dog puke. Sure enough, there's like some dog puke like right there in the middle of the back seat, but I don't know. Luckily, my nose was a little stuffed at the time. I didn't smell it too badly, but it was there. And then we just like were flying down the road because we're going down this mountain at this point to Boise, and she's just cruising. And I felt pretty good. She said she'd done the road. She'd like driven that road 5,000 times is what she said. So I assume she's driven it probably like 80 or 90 at least. And she was going 80 or 90 miles an hour and just passing people and whipping around these turns. And even my stomach was kind of turning. This other dog's puking the whole time, just periodically, just throwing up on the floor and stuff. And she was really funny. But, some people drive like crazy and you feel like it's nuts. And some people drive crazy like that. And you're like, ooh, feeling a little woozy, but definitely feel relatively safe. Just feel like she knows what she's doing. And we got to Boise super quick, and yeah, hung out there until I caught up with my one friend. But actually, this girl picked me up last summer, saw that I was in the area. I was hitchhiking out of Boise last summer, going towards Portland, and I got a ride from this girl, and we stayed in touch. And she saw I was in the area, and yeah, I was like, yeah, I am going to be in Boise. So caught up with her first, and then had a few beers with her before catching up with my other buddy, who I also met kind of randomly in Boise years before that, just at a bar. He was I don't know if he was the manager at the time or just working in the kitchen, but like I met him that way, and we stayed in touch, and I stayed with him last summer. Pretty cool guy, does a bunch of crystal hunting and whatnot, really into beer as well. And I was going to stay with him that night and did. So the three of us ended up, after some beers, all just heading back to his place for a real long night. It was funny because they both were like, they both independently, they didn't know each other, just introduced them. But they both had to work like pretty early in the morning, like 6, 7, 8 in the morning. And it was them who kept saying, like, I can't really stay up too long. And it was like 3 in the morning. They're like, yeah, I can't really stay up too long. 4 in the morning. Yeah, 5 in the morning. Finally, he went to bed. It was a fun night. It was a fun night on all accounts. Yeah, good times. Good times there. I got to sleep in. Yeah, they both had to work, I guess, in the morning. She had to bail, like, straight from there to work, I think. Straight to work. Pretty sure. And then, yeah, I kind of slept in, and he lives in a sort of an awkward part of the city in terms of hitchhiking, so I had to walk for an hour and a half or so just to get to the highway, and got to this other town, Nampa, and big storm came through, but it went away, and at this point I'm just trying to get to Sacramento, and whatever. I caught some more rides and wound up on this sort of mountain pass for the night, camping there. It's a little bit cold, not too bad though. It's only like, it was in the 40s. My gear is good to like 30 degrees, and yeah, the next day I walked for a long time. That morning I walked for, a few hours until I finally got a ride, but when I did, this guy was going clear to Sacramento. Badass ride. So it's like an 8-hour drive. I thought I was going to maybe get stuck in Reno for the night. From where I was, it was like down Winnemucca, Reno, Sacramento. But he was just going straight through. Super cool dude. Real interesting. Had a bunch of stories. We stopped a couple times for food. He hooked it up. Real interesting dude and real interested too. I always like that when you meet someone who's like really good at listening, but also has plenty to say themselves. So it was a good conversation. Just like 8 hours solid. One of those rides, no breaks, no like listening to music randomly. Like we were just talking the whole time. And yeah, dropped me off to where I am now in Sacramento. So hung out with these guys, Aaron and Jess, for a few days. I got here a few days early. And yeah, like I said, they're off on their adventure, North Carolina. So I'm sure maybe they're still up in the air, right? Yeah, they probably are still like up in the air right now as I'm recording this. And they should be landing, I guess, in North Carolina towards the morning and checking out brewery, seeing family and whatnot. And I will be here for the next couple weeks. So as I said, I'm in the home stretch of this book, and then I'll have a lot more to say about it in the next episode. And yeah, it's gonna be my first time publishing a book, so I'm ready to do it, ready to see what it's like. It's gonna be pretty exciting. Yeah, it's turning out pretty good too. It's about beer and hitchhiking. What else, So that's that. We'll end it like that, At Hobo Lifestyle across the board. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that jazz. I've been getting a lot more emails about bivy packs too. I'm guessing because it's like springtime coming on summer. For anyone interested in that, I might get back to Mississippi here in July and make a few. But if you're interested, definitely message me, because that's gonna be what motivates me. The more messages I get, the more motivated I'll be to go and actually, make several more for the people who want them. So that's that for that. Freestyle travel gear, if you want to follow on that. But I'll probably update here as well. Yeah. All right, you guys. That's it for now, and we'll catch up a little bit later. More things come to fruition. So I will see you down the road. I need a new escape. With all my shit straight, I'll get my